Shahnameh, A Tale of Zal with Dr. Sahba Shayani, Part 4. Salam, Sahba Jan. How are you doing?
Salam, Leila John. I'm well. How are you?
Good. And hello to all the listeners. Salam Behamegi. We've now come to part 4 of our tale of Zal, of the Shahnameh. And hopefully by now you know the drill. You know exactly how we're going to do this. And actually, since we are on part 4, since we're past the halfway point at this point, I think it's a good time to stop and summarize what's happened so far.
Sure. Yes. So, should we go from the beginning?
From the beginning.
So the story begins with Sam and Nariman, the king of Zabulistan, who is a vassal king in the kingdom of Manuche, Shahanshah Iran. Like we talked about before, Iran has the Shahanshah, which is the king of kings. And this is a larger Iran than what we're talking about in modern day Iran, obviously. It expands from, let's say, from Pakistan and India to all the way to the west to Turkey. Manuche is the Shahanshah of this region. And Same Nariman is a vassal king of Manuche, and he lives in what is southeast of Iran today in the kingdom of Zabulistan. He rules over Zabulistan, and Sam has wanted a son his whole life, and he prays and prays to God, and finally God bestows him with a son, but the son is born in perfect health and beauty, except that all the hair on his body is white. Hence why they name him Zal, which means albino in a way, or white-haired. And when Sam sees this, he is mortified for a variety of reasons, but mostly because he's like, what are people going to say? We talked about this a little bit.
Yes.
Cultural issue. What are people going to say? And so he orders that the baby be cast in the mountains left to die. And so his courtiers take Zal to the mountainside of Alborz, and they leave him there to die. And that is when Simorgh, the mythical bird of Persian lore, comes from above his nest, above the peak of Mount Alborz, sees this baby at the bottom of the mountain, and as he's going to hunt for his own children to eat, swoops down and grabs this helpless crying little creature, to take him up to be fed to his children, essentially. And while he's taking him up, God reveals to him his mercy and his kindness and says, don't eat this child, but rather raise him as one of your own. And Zal's love, as we say in Persian, mehrish dar dilish miofte, his love falls into Simorgh's heart, and Simorgh and his children love Zal, and they rear him as though he is one of their own. Years pass, and Sam Nariman has a dream one night that this paladin is coming from the east, and he rises up from his dream in dishevelment and in fear, and he turns to his dream interpreters and says, what is this? And they say, even the wildest of animals tend to their children with love, and you have taken your child and abandoned him. This is a wake-up call for that, essentially. It's because of that you're having this dream. And it seems that your child is still alive and well in the mountains. And so he has another dream again, that this time the child with 2 other individuals is coming down from the Hindustan, from the east, and they speak very coldly to Sam in this dream, the men, and they say, if white hair was a sign of shame, then you should be the most ashamed of yourself, now that you've grown old and all your hair is white, and so on and so forth. And he wakes up and he's like, oh my God, I made a mistake, and I need to go back and find my son.
Wow. And one detail, did he have other children after this, or was that it?
He probably did. Yes, he definitely did. I mean, he has a harem of wives, so it wasn't like it was just this one. But for all our intents and purposes, at least in this point of the Shahnameh, we don't know about the other children. Like, yeah, they don't matter.
Great. Okay, so they're chastising him for not raising this son, but he's been
Yeah,
lovingly raising his other children, maybe.
maybe, most likely.
All right.
But the point is that he doesn't have an heir to the throne, essentially. This
Okay.
is what the
Okay.
problem is too, right? So like
Got it.
you don't have someone who is worthy of taking your throne. So
Got it.
we're not even told if he has other children because in a way it probably doesn't matter.
Okay.
Zal is meant to be the heir to the throne.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay. He's the rightful heir.
he's the rightful heir. Yeah. All right. So Sam then with his cavalry rides up to Mount Alborz, and as he reaches the bottom of Alborz, he looks up and he sees this huge mountain, and at the peak of it, he sees the nest of the great Simorgh, and
Wow.
he calls upon God and says, "What a wonderful creation you've created," and realizes that it's a divinely ordained moment in a sense. And so he climbs up alone a little bit halfway through the mountain, and the closer he gets, the more of Simorgh's nest he sees. And he says to God, please, if this child is, because he's always worried, and he was initially too, that this child perhaps is of the seed of Ahriman, is of the seed of the devil, essentially, because he's different, right? But
Mm.
he says, if this child is of my seed and of the seed of goodness, then please let me get him back. So change the cameras up to the mountain.
Nice. Okay.
And to the abode of Simorgh, and Simorgh looks down and spots Sam from the top of his nest.
Ooh.
And so he turns to Zal and he says, چنین گفت سیمرغ با پور سام که ای دیده رنج نشیم و کنام. So thus says Simorgh to the son of Sam, meaning to Zal, O you who have seen and tasted the difficulties of bitterness of this nest. پدر سام یل پهلوان جهان سرافرازتر کس میان مهان. So your father, the paladin Sam, the hero of the world, more renowned and honorable amongst all of the nobility, بدین کوه فرزند جوی آمده است تو را نزد او آبروی آمده است. So he's come to this mountain, فرزند جوی, seeking his son, seeking his child. Yeah, he's come to this mountain child seeking. تو را نزد او آبروی آمده است, and from you shame has come towards him, right? So he's ashamed of what he has done, but also he values who you are now, actually. روا باشد اکنون که بردارمت بیازار نزدیک او آرمت. So now it is fitting that I pick you up, and without any difficulty for you, I take you to him. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. They're very gracious of that, Simorgh.
very gracious of Seymour. Yeah, and now look at what Zal says in response. I love the story is so beautiful.
Uh-oh.
Zal's like, forget that.
Yeah.
No, Zal's actually quite generous too. So he says, به سیمرغ بنگر که دستان چه گفت که سیر آمدستی همانا ز جفت. So look at what Dastan is a name for Zal, actually, in the story of Zal. And so Ferdowsi says, look at what Dastan, meaning Zal, says to Simorgh. He says, have you grown weary of your pair, meaning of me? Have you grown tired of me? Do you want me to leave, نشیم تو فرخندگاه من است دو پر تو فر کلاه من است. نشیم تو, your nest, فرخندگاه من است, is my place of greatness, is my abode, is my kingdom. دو پر تو فر کلاه من است, and your two wings are the glory of my crown. Yeah, they're what give me greatness, essentially.
Wow.
It's beautiful, no?
It really is. Such nice imagery.
Yeah, such nice imagery, and the feeling behind it. He's like, have you grown tired of me? Have I become a burden to you? That you want to get rid of me? And then Simorgh responds, and the relationship is so beautiful. And Simorgh responds and says, چنین داد پاسخ که گر تخت و گاه ببینی و رسم کیانی کلاه مگر کین نشیمت نیابد بکار یکی آزمایش کن از روزگار. So you see how much Simorgh really loves Zal. He says to him, go to the throne and the Kiani crown, what is meant to be yours, and give it a try. That perchance you see that you've outgrown this nest, actually, that this nest isn't befitting for you anymore. Yeah. So you see that Simorgh just wants what's best for Zal, right? So ابا خویشتن بر یکی پر من همیشه همی باش در فر من که در زیر پرت بپرورده ام ابا بچگانت برآورده ام. So he says, but take a wing of mine that you may always be under the guidance and the protection of my glory. Because I have raised you, I have reared you under my wings, and I've raised you along my own children as though you are one of my own. گرت هیچ سختی به روی آورند گر از نیک و بد گفت و گوی آورند. So if in case when you're there they give you any difficulty or they speak to you of any good or bad, meaning they say you should do this or you should not do that, if they give you a hard time, بر آتش برافکن یکی پر من, throw one of my wings into the fire, ببینی همان در زمان فر من, and in that moment you will see me in my entire glory. Meaning, what is he saying? He's saying, take my wings, take a few of my feathers, take a few of my feathers. Sometimes I get the par between.
Yeah.
Take some of my feathers, and in any case that there's any difficulty, that they give you a reason that you don't want to say, cast one of them into the fire. And in that instant, I will appear to you in all my glory and help you in any way. همانگاه بیایم چو ابر سیاه بیازارت آرم بدین جایگاه. In that moment, I will appear to you like a black cloud, and I will lift you up and bring you back to this nest. No questions asked.
Wow. Yeah. What a sense of comfort Zal can have.
Yeah, what a sense of comfort. Yeah, really. And of parental duty, you know? Whatever Psalm lacked, Simorgh has made up for in... I keep saying his, but Simorgh is androgynous in a way and actually often is translated as she. So in Simorgh's, you know, in Simorgh's feeling of guardianship for yeah.
Right. That's a good point. As always, we stress you can't tell whether what gender something is in the Persian language unless they go out of their way to indicate what gender they are. So Simorgh here has not been gendered.
Yes, has not been gendered. Exactly. So then we are told دلش گشت پدرام و برداشتش گرازان به ابر اندر افراشتش. So Zal's heart becomes contented and Simorgh swoops him up and takes him up into the sky and then brings him down towards towards his father. Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah. تنش پیلوار و درخ چون بهار پدر چون بدیدش بنالید زار. So his body elephant-like. This is a trope in the Shahnameh when an elephant's body is elephant-like because it's great, it's strong, right? تنش پیلوار و درخ چون بهار. His body elephant-like and his two cheeks like the spring. Yeah? پدر چون بدیدش بنالید زار. And when his father saw him, he began to cry and cry and cry. Yeah?
I do want to pause. This is the second word that we've had in here. We talk a lot about how this is the text that kept the Persian language alive. And we have a lot of that pe sound showing up. I forget what the first example was, but pil here now is said as fil.
Pedram, I think, was the other one we just said.
Okay, but...
Or were you talking about another session, maybe?
No, in another session.
Oh, we were talking about sepid.
Sepid, that's exactly right. So sepid is now said as sefid, and then pil is now said as fil. But again, this text was trying to really preserve that Persian. So that's something that we've lost over time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Thank you for highlighting that. I think that's so important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, فرو برد سر پیش سیمرغ زود نیایش همی بافرین برفزود. So, Sam, in seeing Simorgh, bows his head down before him. And this is a big moment because he's a king, right? So he
Right.
bows before Simorgh and gives him thanks and praise for having reared this child. Yeah.
Mm.
سراپای کودک همه بنگرید همی تاج و تخت کیی را سزید. Then Sam looks at Zal and he sees that he is from head to toe befitting of the throne. And this is also
Wow.
an important thing in the Shahnameh, is that for kings and future kings, their physical appearance as well as their mental faculties and their spiritual faculties emulate one another. So if a king is meant for rulership, not only is he of good thought, of the right mind and of right character, but he's also of the right body too. His body also
Interesting.
emulates this befittingness for kingship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great ending. The story was totally fine.
Yeah.
Everything is forgiven and forgotten. Okay, moving on to the next story. It was very easy. So, the king made a mistake. He's like, sorry, bro. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Oh, wait, is there more?
There's more. There's more. No, not too much more, but there's more. Yeah. Well,
Okay, is that our stopping off point?
this is our stopping point for now.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
They
Then
say, don't they say like there's always a happy ending if
all's well that ends well. All's well that ends well.
all's well that ends well, and if
Yeah.
it's not ended, it's not ended or something.
Yeah. If it isn't, what do they say? If it's not good, it's not over. Yeah.
Right? But I guess we'll have more. Okay, well, wonderful. That was a great lesson. Is there anything else that you want to point out from what we just read?
No, not really. I think we covered it. We covered most of it. It's important to, recognize the grandeur with which Simorgh is represented here and the way that kingship and monarchy is represented. You have to remember that the Shahnameh is the book of kings at the end of the day. And so the line of kingship and monarchy is very important. And it is what keeps Iran intact from century to century. And it's always meant to be guided by the divine. And so Simorgh's intervention here is a divine guidance in a way of that. And the preserving of the kingship is essentially the preserving of Iran, essentially in the Shahnameh. So, and this is guided divinely through the character of Simorgh in this case.
And I like that, in just this selection, there's so much graciousness and forgiveness and and
Yes.
kindness. And it's also a great text for parents. There always comes the time when a child has to leave the home. And I think this, the way Simorgh does it is really nice. It's like, just go try it. It's okay. Like, it's different. You don't know.
And you can always back.
You can always come back. You just have this feather and you just can, I'll always be there. And I think that's really beautiful.
So he gives him 3 feathers. So this is also a thing because then in the Shahnameh, these feathers keep coming back. So
ooh.
Yeah, and as a result of it, Zal is associated with some kind of white magic, essentially, and that he has access to something that many people don't, actually.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. Well, then I'm excited to come for part 5. That's going to be our exciting conclusion to this part of the story.
Yes.
So until then, thank you so much, and Khuda Hafiz from Layla.
Khuda Hafiz for now.